Okay, so we'll continue with Srila Prabhupada's purport. Here we came to this paragraph when Srila Prabhupada describes the anger. Here we are on purport. Srila Prabhupada said, similarly, anger can be controlled. We cannot stop anger altogether, but if we simply become angry with those who blaspheme the Lord or the devotees of the Lord, we control our anger in Krishna consciousness. And this is amazing aspect of Krishna consciousness, that you can utilize anger. Traditionally in India, nobody would expect sadhus to be angry. That is the last thing that people will expect you in India. Sadhus to become angry, that's not allowed. Soon as is any, you may argue with somebody, you may do anything, but anger, what you speak of physical violence. Physical violence is low class. That's absolutely out of question. It means uncivilized. Physical means uncivilized. But anger, this is already considered bad. A saintly person shouts around, sadhu wearing saffron cloth, brahmacharya sannyasi, for public you are sannyasi, wearing saffron means you are sannyasi, and you are shouting or getting angry. That's not accepted in the Vedic society. Now here, Srila Prabhupada giving us hint in his purport how to control the anger. He says, anger cannot be stopped altogether, but we can utilize anger by being angry at those who blaspheme the Lord, those who criticize the Lord, those who criticize devotees. You can be angry. It's not that this is prohibited altogether, but we have to explain why we are angry. Because of love for Krishna. If somebody criticizes Krishna, devotee has to be angry. He has to get upset. If you love your father, and I say a few bad words about your father, nonsense fellow. Nonsense fellow. Who is nonsense? If you have any love, affection, you will react. If you have no love and affection, nonsense fellow. You're right. What kind of son are you? So what kind of devotees are we? If we don't get upset if somebody is criticized. That one should not be, okay, let him talk. No, what let him talk? Cut his tongue. Not talk. Of course, we cannot cut somebody's tongue in the Kali Yuga. Buddha Shastra says something like that. You can, if somebody criticizes the Lord, you can kill him, cut his tongue, or run away. Or after that, jump in the Ganga in the cloth to get purified. But better we do like this. If we can argue, we argue. We cannot argue, we try to give him book. If not, then we leave. But we will not hear. Somebody comes and goes on criticizing devotees, criticizing Krishna, commenting on everyone, and you are sitting and thinking, anyway, he's seeing, better I hear. No, you are going to ruin your life. You are going to ruin your bhakti. That you should not hear comments on Krishna and Vaishnavas. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada gives this amazing, Acharyas give amazing solution. Be angry at those who criticize the Lord. Then Srila Prabhupada gives examples. Here, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry with miscreants, brothers, Jagai and Madai, who blasphemed and struck Nityananda Prabhu. Now this is the Vaishnava principle is Trinada Pisunu Chena, Ṭhākura Pisayishuna, Amanina Amanadena, Kirtaniya Sadhare, that we should be more humble than the grass, more tolerant than a tree. Always respect everyone, never expect respect for ourselves. So here is the key attitude for Vaishnava. If we are offended, we tolerate, we don't get angry for that. But if Vaishnavas are criticized, and Krishna is criticized, that we don't tolerate that one. So this is the principle. One should be ready to tolerate all insults to one's own self. But when Krishna, his pure devotee, is blasphemed, genuine devotee becomes angry and acts like a fire against the offenders. This is the principle for us. If somebody criticizes you, you tolerate. But as soon as he criticizes pure devotees and Krishna, that is not to be tolerated. That is not to be tolerated. Krodha, anger can be stopped, but can be applied rightly. What is application? Hanuman set fire to Lanka. Worship as the greatest devotee of Lord Ramachandra. This means that he utilizes his anger in the right way, Srila Prabhupada said. We glorify Hanuman. Hanuman was angry at Ravana because Ravana insulted Ram. In his anger, 30% of Lanka he burned, 30% of army he finished already himself there. When Bhima met Hanuman in the Himalayas, that famous Śrīla of bringing the celestial lotuses and big monkey was lying across his pathway, so he realized this is Hanuman. So he asked Hanuman, show me that form that you jumped to Lanka. So Hanuman said, that's not possible in Dwapara Yuga, that form, this earth will not hold. But I will show you partially the form. So when he assumed that form, Bhima said, wow, you could finish all army yourself. Say, of course I could finish all army myself. I want to give credit to my Ram, to my Lord. He has to kill Ravana and rescue Sita, not me, no? But there was no question that he didn't have power. Huh? So in anger, he burned the Lanka. He burned all Lanka. He ruined his kingdom. His mind, Ravana's mind was ruined by the fire of Hanuman. And we glorify him for that. Huh? These followers of Periyar here in South India, they were questioning. One day they put banners all over the city. It's burning Lanka pious activity. By Hanuman, yes, not by you. Not that anybody who comes and burns Lanka will become glorified like Hanuman. Not like that. Go there and you want to become famous, go and burn Colombo. Not like that. The idea was that Ram was involved, Lord was involved, Bhakti was involved, atheists they were involved. So then this is how he utilized his anger against the atheists. Okay. The Arjun serves as another example, Srila Prabhupada writes. He was not willing to fight, but Krishna incited his anger. You must fight. Krishna provoked anger of Arjun. Therefore these impersonalists, they cannot relate to Mahabharata Leelas. They cannot understand Krishna's Avajananti Mamudha Manushim Dhanumarsita. They cannot understand Krishna's Leelas when he assumes human-like form. The Lord who spoke Gita, control mind and senses, he is inciting anger of Arjun. Arjun is fighting with Bhishma. Krishna says, look Arjun, if you don't kill Bhishma, if you don't stop with Bhishma, in few days there will be no more Pandava army. Because Bhishma was swallowing the army, he was grinding everything. Wherever he went there was just river of blood, and there were Mahabharata Vyasadeva describes, and fishes were limbs of the fallen warriors. Her hands and legs were swimming like a fish in the river of blood, wherever Bhishma's chariot goes. So Krishna says, stop it, stop this, you stop him, you fight with him. And Arjuna said, grandfather, Bhishma, how can I fight him? He was fighting, but not full-hearted. Then Krishna, what he did? His driving chariot telling him, remember Bhishma sitting silently when Draupadi was insulted. When Arjuna, Draupadi insulted him. He started grinding his teeth. This was big insult. And what did Bhishma do? What did he do? Nothing he did. Bhishma did nothing to stop it. Bhishma did nothing to... Then the arrows start piercing more. Yeah. Bhishma appreciated. He said that, see the Shikante's arrows, this which cannot pierce armor. This one which entered like a poisonous snake and burned every limb. This was Arjuna's arrows. He was describing after that. Then Krishna went on, every single mistake of Bhishma he exposed to him, and faults of Duryodhana, and faults of, and sufferings of Yudhishthira and all Pandavas by Duryodhana, and Bhishma was fighting on that side. Then Arjuna was getting more and more angry. What did Krishna do? What did he do? He incited anger in Arjuna. Why? How is this spiritual? How is this good? Because it was to establish Yudhishthira as a king, to establish the Dharma. Because by adharma Duryodhana took over. You see that anger. You can't, after hearing Gita, you don't feel going to the battlefield. Anybody? Today I was reading Prabhuji 2 hours Gita. Where is my bow? You're not like that. You feel, okay, cool down. You feel peaceful, you feel blissful. How is it, But that was his service. The conclusion of Gita is surrender to Krishna and do devotional service. What was Arjuna's devotional service? Shooting the arrows, fighting. Fight minds be with anger. Hello, please kindly accept this arrow. That like this, doesn't go like this. full bow. How is described? Anger. You know what anger is described. His bow was circle. Whenever you look at Arjuna, his bow was in the form of circle. Nobody saw when he is shooting, when he is bringing, when he is shooting, bringing. It is just so circle and arrows coming out, and the front arrow will be touched by back arrow, by the tail. This is the speed he shot, That is how Arjuna was angry. He was angry. Pierced 3 soldiers. 3 are riding one elephant. 3 are pierced by Arjuna arrow. Not that, hello, be positive, nice. Why you want to speak negative? How you will pierce the one arrow, 3 people will die. This is anger, but this is for dharma, not for himself. This is a bit. This is spiritual. So this is Prabhupada gives instruction. So conclusion, Krishna conscious solution. Anger is control, however, when utilized in service of the Lord. Okay. So I don't know, I'm not going to discuss about anger of temple presidents, temple commanders and all this. But it was there. Srila Prabhupada did that angry. Angry like anything. When Prabhupada was angry, it was finished. It just, really got intimidated, humiliated, really afraid to stand in front of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was angry. And the next moment, the devotee will go out of the room, and Prabhupada was just normal to the servants. So one day, one of his servants asked Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, how is that we see your devotee sometimes gets angry and next moment he is peaceful? He said that, yes, spiritual master's anger is just like a waves and storm on the surface of the ocean. But because of his depth of bhakti, deep in the ocean, there is no any commotion. That is his real state of consciousness. He is deeply absorbed in Krishna. Externally, he may show anger to teach something. But he is not angry on material platform. He is not affected by anger. He is not overpowered by anger. His mind is not controlled by the anger. And that they could see. Prabhupada will shout out somebody, and this devotee will go out, and then everyone was afraid. Who will go now in the room? I will not go, you will not go, you go. No, I will not go. Now Prabhupada is angry. But he is not angry of all the world, That there was instruction to teach the devotee, and next devotee when he comes, Prabhupada will be cool. He'll just be cool. Talking nicely, smiling. How is it possible? I know one personality, when he gets angry, better don't come nearby. Even 1 hour later is unsafe. That all day, better you kind of skip. Yeah, he's our temple president. Everybody knows. All right. Next over. Okay, so now Srila Prabhupada goes on discussing the Jiva Vegam and Udara Vegam. What is Jiva Vegam? Jiva, tongue, the tongue. And Udara. Udara Vegam. Udara means belly. Here in Sanskrit you can see it's Udara Upastam is one word, but it's 2 words actually. I'll show you one by one word translation. Okay, Jiva Vegam, the tongue. Udara Upasta. Udara means belly and Upasta genitals, of the belly and genitals. Udara Upasta Vegam. So here, Srila Prabhupada first in the purport discusses Jiva and Udara together. Generally, we should not allow the tongue to eat according to its choice, but should control the tongue by supplying prasadam. So this is something nice. The Prabhupada simply generalized. Yes, take prasadam, that is tongue control. Now within prasadam, what we are doing, again we are going on choosing according to our liking, disliking, which should not be the principle. Prasadam is prasadam, that should be the attitude. So, but the principle is, devotee's attitude is that he will eat only when Krishna gives him prasadam. So we will not eat what is not offered. We will not eat outside. What is prasadam? What is the definition of prasadam? Right. Once, what is Prabhuji's name? Rasaraj Prabhu, who was in our Bhaktivedanta Institute, he was flying in airplane with one Indian gentleman sitting next to him, who was working in USA for many years. Indian, but living in America. So, when these people in airplane start serving the meals, our Rasaraj Prabhu, he refused. And this man next to him turned, I know, You will not eat what is not offered to Krishna. And that's Raj Prabhu responded, no, not that we will not eat what is not offered to Krishna. We will not eat what is not cooked with love and offered to Krishna. Because even that vegetarian you can offer to Krishna. Now whether he will take or not, that's a different issue. But the point is, it's not just offering. It's really cooked with love, prepared with love, meditated, with humble devotional attitude and offered to Krishna. This is prasad. Not that Krishna is purifying agent and you purchase biscuits outside and chant the mantras. Mantra chanter, press the button. Washing machine is washing at 90 degrees and stop. Now is offered prasad. That mantra is purifying agent. Krishna is purifying agent. Biscuit offered. Offered. Okay. What offered? And where is love offered? It's not cooked with love. It's cooked for money. Love for Gandhi is there. That Gandhi knows. No? It's not prasad. It doesn't work like this. Okay, emergency, some for life saving or something, But where is life saving in India? Everybody is eating nicely. No? So that's the principle. It's not just you offer. You offer and then it's okay. No, you cook with love and offer. Therefore we ask, who cooked? Prasadam, who sent? From where? How? No? We had another life member who said that, you're building big temple, you will have bakery there. So I said, not exactly, we kind of want to keep traditional sweets, ladus and adirasams. No, but in Bangalore they are keeping bakery. So I said that we will see, maybe. I didn't want to disappoint him on the first meeting, So I said, maybe. We are starting bakery, so if you want, we'll supply the cakes for the temple. We'll make without eggs. We know you're vegetarians. So I said, so actually it doesn't work like this, because we have devotees who are initiated, they cook. No, we'll send our cook, you give him diksha. Business people are too practical sometimes. What do I do? Okay, we'll call you once we open temples. I have another 2 years to think of some way how to explain. They're just pushing, we'll send cook, you give him diksha, then let him cook, Because business is business, Big temple, big bakery, good, You get benefit, we get benefit. What's the problem? And he's thinking, I'm willing to do something for temple, they are refusing, So things like this, prasadam. Okay, then shall we discuss? What about if people are paid cooks? Who is cooking? Paid cooks. So you put tilak on them and you pay them and they cook. Is prasadam? And if they become devotees, then it's prasadam. If they are not devotees, so one devotee brought some prasadam. I said, from where? From our restaurant. I said, who cooks? 4-ounce devotees. He called them 4-ounce devotees. So that was interesting. 4-ounce devotees. Okay. So what do? Take 25%. 4-ounce devotees. What do I do? Yeah? So let's not push Govinda's restaurant and then you have paid karmi cooks. Just because you put ISKCON or Hare Krishna brand or Govinda's brand doesn't mean it's prasadam. Unless this principle is that, what is that? Bhaktyamam upahita, ashnami. Ashnami, I will accept, Krishna says. Bhakti, it is offered by bhakti. Patram pushpam phalam toyam, you may bhaktya prayachat. So, this is the principle that they must be devotees. Preach to them, make them devotees, And then why start Govindas? Then what is the point? You are running restaurant, like karmis are running restaurant. It's for money. It's not for preaching. It's not going to change heart and mind of people. Because the consciousness of person who cooks enters into the food. Then you consider eating outside. Somebody argue now that what is the problem when you travel some idlis? Nothing. You can eat, but you get karma for it. No problem. But you offer. But offering still, even after offering idlis from outside or any grain outside, still your consciousness will be affected by the consciousness of the cook. Then suddenly, you eat, nothing happens. You see, nothing happens, I'm still devoted, this, that. But suddenly, when you chant, there will be material desires coming from nowhere, from that cook. You will pick up on his material desires. This is how it will happen. And then you will not be able to explain to yourself why I'm so dull, why I'm not enthusiastic, why I'm my mind is disturbed. It's so much affected consciousness by prasadam, eating outside so-called prasadam. Means you buy something and eat. That doesn't work like that. What to do, Prabhu, when we travel? Then you eat some fruits, carry with you teplas, carry some tamarind rice, manage. We don't know any devotee. Then don't travel or fast. But why immediately breaking the principles? Srila Prabhupada says, as Krishna was told, he was reading recently Prabhupada's lecture. Prabhupada said, neglecting small rules and regulations, like eating only prasadam, bring us to the point of committing sin. Because you don't take prasadam, then what do? You eat outside. You eat outside is already sinful and pollutes consciousness. And that becomes, one time you take, second time you take, third time you take, you think you're okay, but you're not okay, you're already gone. It's not good. Even now I saw, they're serving, in our ISKCON temple, they're serving ketchup bottles purchased outside and serving. Why? What is the need? Even our temple, even samosa they give you cooked by devotees and they give you a small packet of ketchup purchased outside. Why? This is jiva vedam. We cannot control this much. Either you make chutney or we'll eat without chutney. What do we care? Samosa you can eat without chutney. And they are giving, and new devotees come and think that is okay, that is allowed. But it's not allowed. It's not allowed. Whatever is not offered to Krishna, whatever is not cooked with love and offered to Krishna, is not prasad. You can't force Krishna by ringing of your bell that he has to accept. Correct? Just because I offer purchased things from outside, then Krishna has to accept. So Krishna is God who is afraid of the bell. Ring, 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 ring. Whatever you give, I will. What do you think? Who is Krishna? Who is cooking for Krishna? Rādhā-ramaṇa is cooking for Krishna, the best cook in the world, in the all three worlds, in all worlds, in all existence. There is no cook like Rādhā-ramaṇa. Even Durvasa Muni, so called, he given the blessing that whatever she cooks will be amritam, will be pure nectar. Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrahma Sevya Mano. Hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis are cooking for Krishna. And he has to eat your ketchup from outside. Forget it, Baba. You are an illusion. You are not eating it. No, not like that. It's karma you are offering to Krishna. No way. Why he should accept? Krishna is kind, but you are not kind. And junk you are offering to Krishna. Where's your love? This is how you show your love for Krishna. We show our love by fifth class item offering to Krishna. Correct? Just because we want to eat it. No? Just because of tongue. But it's so nice. Once you give vrata, only Krishna prasadam, then you see how Krishna makes arrangements. How many times we travel, suddenly from nowhere some devotee comes, Prabhu, we want some prasadam. Wow, of course we want some prasadam. Now we had experience. Two of us, we entered into the train. We were fighting with congregation that don't give us so much prasadam. Rasi cook, Prabhuji's wife cook, another devotee supply. Two of us are carrying 4 bags. 3 bags are prasadam bags. So, come on, how much prasadam you get? Okay, not to disappoint people. We had, prasadam distribution program in the train from Salem to Bombay. We came to the train, 2 devotees are there, one wife and husband. They say, oh Prabhuji, nice to see you. Where are you coming? Where are you traveling? We exchange our pleasantries. And then we ask them, so what about your prasadam? What to do? Something happened, we couldn't manage. We have put a big smile. All right, here you go. Here is prasadam. And then what is the response? Krishna sent prasadam. You see? And it's true. If you depend on Krishna, Krishna saves you. Ye tamam prapadante. Krishna will take care. How many times we got prasadam like that, And little fasting, no harm also, no? Some fruits are available, this, that, Words come words. You can see the Google map and see through which city your train goes. Then you call, Prabhuji, little Vaishnava Seva, prasadam for 2. No? And then another problem comes from this, is that they are charging for prasadam. That's not allowed. That you cannot charge for prasadam. If somebody asks you to cook, somebody asks, Prabhuji, can we get some prasadam? Yeah, if you can, you may. If you cannot, ask other devotees to help. But not that you pay for prasadam. You will see when we come to that point, the 𝐓𝐴ti-pratikrihnati, we will discuss this. Yesterday we had a lovely discussion with our Vishnu Das about this. Taking money for prasad. Then what is it? Then I am the cook and you are the customer. Correct? In Prabhupada's time, prasadam was given. If you manage, you give prasad, not charge for prasad. Then they say, no, we are not charging. Prabhuji, take some donation. No. And they're putting hand like this. No, don't. No, I will not take. Not like this. Okay, really people then don't have means, if they are very poor, and then definitely you should give some donation as a duty. And they'll help devotee. But not that you start charging. Then we call devotee. Can you supply some prasadam? 3 of us are going through your city, we don't have any prasadam. Yes, Prabhuji. Lunch 150 rupees, breakfast 50 rupees. He has menu printed. My goodness. Then what is this? Okay, let's not discuss this. One should take prasadam at scheduled times. Okay, this is good attitude, good for mind control. That is fixed time. That mind is peaceful. Breakfast 9 o'clock, lunch 1:30. Milk 8:15. Finish. Fixed time. Not at any time mind. You are working something, mind goes, hello, what about eating something? Because if you have no regulated timings, this is what happens. Anytime mind goes, why not a little bit, and continue working. Every time. You can see people in the train, you can see them. Every 15 minutes something is pulled out from the bag, some packet is open. Something, give the chai, give the coffee, give banana, give samosa, give this. All the time something they are chewing. Correct? How can you be healthy? How can mind be peaceful? Scheduled timings are secrets to control of mind and good health also. Prabhupada said, give me on time. When hunger is there, when you sit to eat, then you should supply prasadam, then you will not get sick. Anytime eating ruins digestion, and it's for mind it's so important, scheduled time. Then mind knows, 9 o'clock is prasadam, 1:30 is prasadam. Not that if you have no schedule, mind is crazy. All the time he does something, when needed, when not needed. When you're hungry or not hungry. Let's choose something. So, all these things, you see so many advices in this purpose, so many practical things. Okay. One should not eat in restaurants or sweetmeat shops simply to satisfy the whims of the tongue or belly. This is Prabhupada's instruction. Not to eat in restaurants. But the idlis are okay. How is this? One temple president is arguing with Narottam Prabhu. You people are so strict. What is problem eating some idlis when you travel? But he said, no problem, we eat daily idlis, but should be cooked by devotees. That's what? We are not against idlis. We like idlis. What idlis, Baba? Tata idli we like. Big size like this, no problem, But let devotees cook it. That's the point, You are fanatics. We are fanatics because we are so sinful and fallen and we cannot afford more karma on our head. You are great, elevated soul, you eat outside, But it's not done like this. This is very bad. That leader is preaching that it's okay eating idlis. What is idli? Idli is grain. Grain, papam is there. Karma is there in the grain. So this is not allowed. Okay, here, direct instruction. No restaurants, sweetmeat shops. Krishna conscious solution, Śrīla Prabhupada says. If we stick to principles of taking only prasadam, the urges of your tongue can be controlled. No? This is the principle. Previously, acharyas, some of the great saints, they have vrata, that unless it's offered to their deity, they will not take it. Has to be offered in the temple's deities. They will not offer it eating in house of this one, that one, even if it's offered prasad. They has to offer to their Ishtadeva. So much bhakti to their deities that they will eat only what is offered to their Ishtadeva. This is very high level. Okay, so we are comparing high level that we know where we are, Eat prasadam, opulent prasadam, no problem. That we'll discuss later, how much opulent prasadam should be there. This is different point. First thing first. Only prasadam. And this is important, otherwise pollutes consciousness. Okay. Upasita vegam, the urges of genitals, the sex impulse, Prabhupada said, can be controlled when not used unnecessarily. The genitals should be used to become a Krishna conscious child. Otherwise, they should not be used. Bas, finish. Simple thing. Somebody, reporters came one time to us in Europe. Divya Prabhupada Prabhu and myself were just, Harinam just finished. We're packing our instruments and news reporters there come. And they say, there is some discussion, European Union those days, to approve homosexual marriage or disapprove homosexual marriage. So the reporter asked, do you Hare Krishnas accept in your movement homosexuals? So Divya Prabhupada said, yeah, all are welcome. No illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, no question of sex. Sex only for progeny. Homosexual cannot have any progeny, so no sex, no problem. Let them come and change Hare Krishna. Oh, we didn't think like this. That's what it is. So they are welcome. Everyone, white, homosexual, bisexual, trisexual, quattrosexual, whatever they have, drug addicted, alcohol addicted, all are welcome. All are entitled freely to follow all four principles we have. Oh, thank you. Not exciting news. They did not publish. That's the point. What is the Krishna consciousness? Yes, you make children. Good. Make more children. It's better to make as many children as possible. They get opportunity to be born in Krishna conscious families. The Krishna consciousness movement encourages marriage not for satisfaction of genitals, but for begetting of Krishna conscious children. As soon as the children are little grown up, they are sent to our Gurukul school where they are trained to become full Krishna conscious devotees. You see how nice is Krishna consciousness. Who is saying no sex? Prabhupada said, who say no sex? We don't say no sex. We say sex for Krishna conscious children. Who says no sex? We don't say stop sex. Grihasthas, they are allow sex. 3 varnas. Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, no sex. There was a sannyasi writing offering to Srila Prabhupada, Vyas Puja. And his disciple he wrote on paper and disciple was typing in computer. So Maharaj wrote, that sannyasi wrote, Srila Prabhupada, I promise to follow 4 principles. No meat eating, no sex, no gambling, no intoxication. So disciple is typing, no meat eating, no illicit sex. Maharaj said, no, I say no sex. I'm sannyasi. There's no question, illicit. No sex. For others, no illicit sex. My vrata for Prabhupada is no gambling, no sex. The disciple, Maharaj made mistake, he forgot illicit. No? Then after he got scolding. So 3 varnas, no sex. 1 is allowed for progeny. No? So one day devotee asked Prabhupada, so Prabhupada, we are now married, so how is this sex? Yes, for progeny. And that also once a month you try. When there is particular period of time when lady is fertile, then you approach her. They get good children. Chant 50 rounds and do it Krishna conscious way. Pray to Krishna to send some pious or like that. So then I think Shyamasundar, I don't know who was it, maybe Shyamasundar. Then Prabhupada, what's the point? Prabhupada, that's the idea! Give it up! What's the point getting married then, It's only for progeny and once a month and, once children are becoming, bus, finish, no more sex. Then what's the 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬? No? Then 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬 said, Prabhupada, then what's the point? Prabhupada, that's the point! What's the point? Give it up. So it's like this. Krishna conscious solution. Many such Krishna conscious children are required. And one who is capable of bringing forth Krishna conscious offspring is allowed to utilize his genitals. Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura say, I would have hundreds of children if I can make them Krishna conscious. So, this is good that Grihastha should have more children. This modern propaganda having 1 or 2 child is wrong. It's wrong. It's too much attachment to one child particularly, Previously, everybody had more children. Then somebody joined temple, then you don't cry too much, parents, Something happens, others are there to support. People used to live in the village, more hands, more assistants, more children, more better to work on the farm, Nowadays, all these children are expensive. More children. 3 children. What's wrong with you? How it is expensive, school is expensive, clothes is expensive, this is expensive. Because we live crazy life. We are not living farm life. We are not living what God has given us to live of land. We are living in the crazy cities where everything is expensive. Children are burden. Children are expensive. You cannot afford to maintain. And poor, uneducated people like our grandfathers and forefathers, they live in village, they have 7 children, 10 children, 12 children, 15 children, and amazingly, they all manage to eat and dress. How is this? They didn't have problem because they follow Krishna's way or Varnashram way. Okay, next. Prabhupada said like this. Now let me see, this is point 8. So when one follows all of this, what happens? When one follows all this Krishna conscious solution, when one is fully practiced in the methods of Krishna conscious control, he can become qualified to be bona fide spiritual master. So this is one of the qualifications to being guru, that you practice these methods of engaging these urges in Krishna consciousness. Vācavegam, manasakrodavegam. So here, Prabhupada says, fully practice methods of Krishna conscious control. That's the way. Krishna conscious control. We utilize all of these urges. Then one can be a guru. 9. Okay, now this shloka, okay. Vācavegam, manasakrodavegam, jivavegam, udarapasthavegam, etave ganyo vishaye tadir, sarvam apivam pritivim sashishyat. That one can be guru of the whole world if he follows this. Now, misunderstanding should not happen that this shloka is only for gurus. No? See? I don't want to become guru, so... No, the people simplify philosophy, I tell you. When mind cannot be controlled, that the philosophy is twisted. No, this is for each one of us. This is the first basic thing, this is preliminary to advance in spiritual life. Otherwise, it remains great impediment. If you're not able to control mind, then it goes on drilling you and slowly will pull you down. No, udaret atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet. One should uplift oneself with the help of the mind, but not degrade oneself. Mind has to think something, mind has to engage senses, mind has to, be actively engaged. So, if we engage our mind to serve Krishna, mind we always think how to advance, how to serve Vaishnava, how to improve, how to build temple, how to do this, how to do that, how to distribute books, how to cook better. Mind will be so active and help us. Otherwise it's just lose with the mind. Mind will kill us. Mind will get some crazy ideas and start commenting on everything and start convincing you are better than others, and all kinds of inauspicious things will happen. No? So some people like to talk about this Radha Kunda and Krishna's pastimes with gopis. But better to be cool-headed and, see where we are. We have numbers from 1 to 11. 11 is Radha Kund and Radha Krishna and Gopis pastimes. And number 1 is Vācavegam, manasakrodavegam, jivavegam, udarapasthavegam. So, where we are on the scale 1 to 11. So let's not bluff ourselves and, what is the point? This hearing, this Radha Krishna pastime at this moment will not help us. Even they go and reading Rasika's books of Acharyas on Radha Krishna pastimes, but it will not be appreciated by us at this moment. We may misunderstand them as mundane, lusty attraction, like mundane sexual desire, and we'll fall down. There is an introduction. You see, Acharyas wrote 2 types of books. One are Tattva books explaining philosophy of Krishna consciousness, which are Bhakti Tattva, invoke Bhakti. And other ones are Rasa books, really for those devotees who are above the Vaidhi Bhakti, who are on Raganuga, Sadhana, Bhakti. For them, they are books to be read and to be meditated upon. So these Rasika books are not meant for us at this particular moment. Because we will misunderstand, because mind is not pure, our mind and senses is not under control, we'll misunderstand, we'll commit offenses, we'll take something mundane. So one of the books of Jiva Goswami, one of the Rasika books he wrote, there is an introduction shloka that he offered pranams to his Guru, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his Guru, and he glorifies Radha and Krishna, and then he says, at this moment of time, those who are mind and body are still agitated by mundane sex desire, close the book. Simply like that. These books should not be read without permission of Guru. They should not be printed. Even one of the esoteric books, these are good for Vaishnavas who are on high level. These are Radha Krishna pastimes, and they invoke bhakti in particular mood, particular bhav, particular swarupa is revealed by following that. That will be explained in Upadesa-prakasika in few shlokas. We'll come to that. But point is that prematurely reading those books will cause one fall down, and therefore doesn't help. It's not that one who speaks Radha Krishna Leelas is one who is actually, you should be excited and here to follow him. You should be excited, one who says, wake up Mangalarati, control mind and senses, full book distribution, read books, control mind, control senses, take only prasadam, surrender, give up material desires. This is person who is actually leading us to the path to Radha Krishna Bhakti. Otherwise you hear nice Radha Krishna Leelas stories and this happened and that happened, and then Radha Krishna met gopis and gopis met Krishna, and then you feel after lecture, so nice, Prabhuji, you spoke very nice, the lecture very nice. This temple, Salem temple, we are not this body, control mind, only hammering us with all these rules, but you spoke very nicely, Radha Krishna. But that won't help. Then in mind you feel nice, but there will be no urge to surrender, because you can't appreciate this Leela. You appreciate on mundane platform, on mind platform, because you can't understand the real nature of those Leelas unless mind is pure. You can't appreciate. You think nice Leela, then you become enjoyer of Radha Krishna Leelas. You see, nice, I like this to hear, I don't like to hear this. Oh, you don't like to hear sense control, but you want to hear Radha Krishna Leelas. This is proof you are hearing on mundane platform. And then you are utilizing this type of lecture for entertainment. It's just, I feel nice that lecture, don't like this lecture. That now doesn't mean that we ban Radha Krishna Leela topics in our classes, but they should be done from our level of understanding, how Prabhupada presented, respectfully, gracefully, with honor, with reverence, and narrated as possible on our level. Now, unfortunately, they're just printing all Rasika books, are printed and published in public. They should be, Guru should give allowance. Now you go to Vrindavan and just purchase Jayadeva Goswāmī's Gita Govinda, and read it. And what I will understand? What will I understand? And this is very difficult. This is a big problem, and now it's giving us more harm than help. Those who are on platform to understand Radha Krishna Leelas, Guru reveals to them what to do, how to do, which books to read, what to do, what are activities, what to meditate on. Everything is revealed, nothing to worry. Alright, here I'll read some quotes from Srila Prabhupada, from different books of Srila Prabhupada, just little bit quotes explaining these Vedams before we continue with purport. Please, attention please, you can follow a little bit on the screen. In this verse, this is from Determination, Steadiness in Yoga, Prabhupada's quotes. In this verse, Rupa Goswami mentions 6 pushings, Vegams. Prabhupada explained, what is this Vegam? This pushing is kind of impetus. For instance, when nature calls, we have to go to toilet. We cannot check this urge. So this urge is called Vegam. This is how this tongue is pushing, this is how mind is pushing, this is how genitals are pushing, belly is pushing, right? Now, sweet rice came. I know we have to give a class, and you have to sit on the class. One more spoon. No, one more spoon. No, I know. Watch over. Okay. So, easy for me. I have to speak, so I have to be alive. So this urge is called Vegam, a kind of pushing. According to Rupa Goswami, there are 6 Vegams. Vacha Vegam is urge to talk unnecessarily. That is a kind of pushing on the tongue. Then there is Krodha Vegam, urge to become angry. When one is pushed to anger, we cannot check ourselves. And sometimes men become so angry that they commit murder. It's a fact, true. The word Dhira means steady, sober. Only one who is Dhira is qualified to make disciples. This all depends on one's training. See that? on one's training. So from childhood, if we train, there is success, it's possible. If we are not trained from childhood, we have to do little extra endeavor. Indeed, yoga means training the mind and senses to be fixed on the self. This is not possible by meditating on 15 minutes a day and then going out and doing whatever the senses dictate. This is the very popular at that time when Prabhupada was in USA, the yoga practice, yoga meditation. 15 minutes, you meditate and in 3 months you become God. Nonsense. 15 minutes you meditate means 15 minutes you close your eyes and try to forget all the problems you have in life. So you feel good. 15 minutes I didn't think of all these problems which I have to face. So this is not possible by meditating only 15 minutes a day. No. How can the problems of life be solved so cheaply? You see that? Now hear the part. If we want something precious, we have to pay for it. What we want? Love of God. Anything else we could afford. You want to become Chief Minister Tamil Nadu Vrindavan. You can. Push a little bit, organize yourself, get some support, propagate. It's possible. Correct? But it's heavy endeavor. But it's possible. What we are aiming at, Krishna Prem, impossible. What is price of that? Is the highest price. What is the price? Vācavegam, Manasakrodavegam, Jivavegam, Udarapasavegam, chain 60 rounds and so. This is the price. We have to be ready to pay. This is the price. No? By the grace of Lord Chaitanya, this payment has been made very easy. What is that? Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. By our chanting, the system of control, the yoga system, becomes perfect. Iraite Sarasvatī Highway to Ma. Thus Lord Chaitanya has blessed us. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, we will achieve the perfection of self-realization. In this age of Kali Yuga, when people are so fallen, other processes will not be successful. This is the only process, and it is easy, sublime, effective, and practical. By it, one can realize oneself. So this is easier to get Krishna Prema than become CM, I think. Huh? No. So this is the Prabhupada's quotes from different books. So one more place, very nice. Prabhupada says like this: the force of tongue is very great. And for its gratification, we create many artificial edibles. Nonsensical habits like smoking, drinking, and meat eating have entered society due to the urges of the tongue. There is no real need for these undesirable things. A person does not die because he cannot smoke. Correct? Nothing happens if you don't smoke. No, I need. You don't need, relax, but it's addiction. It's a difficulty, no? Or eat meat, without meat eating also, no? Who dies if you don't eat meat? Nobody dies. Maybe tiger will die. Or drink intoxicants. Rather, without these indulgences, he can elevate himself to the highest platform. Due to the urges of tongue, people have become addicted to drinking, smoking, meat eating, and frivolous conversation. It is therefore said, one who can control the tongue can control the urges of other senses also. One who cannot control all the senses, beginning with tongue, is called one who can control all the senses, beginning with tongue, is called Goswāmī or Swami. Or as Nietzsche would say, Übermensch. Übermensch. Mensch means a man, Über means higher, the higher man. But this is not possible for an ordinary man. Because Shyamasundar was narrating to Prabhupada what is Nietzsche's philosophy, so he mentioned Übermensch, you want to make higher man. So Prabhupada, Übermensch means Vācavegam, Manasakrodavegam. Your nonsense German meat-eating Übermensch, Doesn't work like that, no? So this is, so Prabhupada immediately got the point and hit, So you see, this is the fact that unnecessary all these things, smoking, unnecessary, Okay. Now, we go quickly to Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur's Anuvṛtti purport. This is in Prabhupada's purport itself. This is not from some other book or something. This is right there in the Prabhupada's purport. This is how it goes. Let's see. Tapasya, brahmacharya, these events, Surya-sam, anger can be controlled, urges of tongue, genital sex impulse can be controlled. Okay, here Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. In his Anuvṛtti explanation in Upadesa-prakasika, this is Srila Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura commentary on Upadesa-prakasika. Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura writes that all material identification creates three kinds of urges. The urge to speak, urge and demands of mind, and the demands of the body. Now this is interesting. We say that at the beginning there are 6 urges. Bhaktisiddhānta said there are 3 urges. Correct? So there are 3 urges, if you see like this. What is urge? Vācu-vegam, speech. This is one urge. Manasa-krodha-vegam, urge of mind and krodha, both are of mind urges. This is mind urge, 2. And urges of body, Bhaktisiddhānta says. What is body? Jiva-vegam, udara, upastha-vegam. 3 urges of the body, 2 urges of the mind, 1 urge of the speech. So, how many urges are there? 6, actually 3. 3 with subcategories. This is how. Now, why I am explaining this? First, Bhaktisiddhānta said, but there is an interesting link to the. Let me see my notes. Okay, here. So this is what Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī said. Our material identification creates 3 kinds of urges: urge to speak, demands of mind, demands of the body. When living entities falls victims of these 3 types of urges, his life becomes inauspicious. One who practices restraining these demands and urges is called tapasvi. Because Prabhupada said, by tapasya, you can come to platform of knowledge, and then by knowledge we can control this. Or one who practices austerities. By such tapasya, one can overcome victimization by material energy, the external potency of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, here, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura gives explanation how these 3 urges are linked to the 3 danda that Gaudiya Vaishnava sannyasis carry. Let me see, 11. Okay, here, Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura writes, the Ekadandi, so-called Paramahamsas, Mayavadis, they will accept one danda, one road, because they say that we become one with the God. The danda of sannyasis is called usually Brahma danda, or just danda. We say danda, we say in Gaudiya Vaishnava, 3 dandis. Okay, so here explanation. The Ekadandis, so-called Paramahamsas, who follow philosophy impersonalism, always neglect the 3 dandis. Since Sri Gaura Sundar exhibit pastimes of pretending to accept Ekadanda sannyas, that time the very prominent sannyas ashram was of the Adi Shankaracharya's line, all over the India. And they were these Ekadanda sannyas. So Kshetra-Bharati had Ekadanda sannyas, though he was Vaishnava. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted, to be accepted in society, he accepted Ekadanda sannyas. Now, when he accepted Ekadanda sannyas, what Lord Nityananda did? He broke it into 3 pieces and threw it also into the river. So, here this is very meaningful. So, Nityananda Prabhu broke that danda into 3 pieces and turned it into 3 danda, because Vaishnavas accept 3 danda sannyas. Okay. He then entrusted the service of carrying that danda to the servants of the Lord. So, servants of the Lord are known as 3 dandis. This is why means Vācu-vega, Manasa-krodha-vega, you become Goswāmī. Goswāmī means 3 dandi. Okay. That is why Śrīla Rupa Goswāmī Prabhupada has quoted in his Upadesa-prakasika the verse from Hamsa-gīti. This verse from Hamsa-gīti section of ancient literature, Mahabharata, beginning Vācu-vegam, Manasa-krodha-vegam. This is shloka from Mahabharata. First shloka of the Upadesa-prakasika is taken from Mahabharata. And same, exactly same, no any change, exactly same shloka. Vācu-vegam, Manasa-krodha-vegam, Jiva-vegam, udara-upastha-vegam. Eta-vega-yoga-visheda-dhīra, sarvam-abhimam, prithivīṃ-sa-shishya. A sober person who can tolerate urge of speak, mind, demands, and action of anger, the urges of tongue, very generous, is qualified to make disciples all over the world, which provides confirmation and qualification for accepting 3 danda sannyas. Okay, this is 3 danda sannyas. And which declares that every 3 danda sannyas is expected to follow in the footsteps of Sri Rupa. Now, what is that? 3 danda means speech, mind and body in the service of the Lord. This is called Tridanda Sannyasa. And there is more to it. I'll just read, then you can see. 𝐴pyaya-dīkṣita has presented the covered Buddhist Mayavadi's strong protest against the acceptance of Tridanda Sannyasa in his commentary known as Parimala. There's one Mayavadi commentators who say that one should not accept Tridanda, one should accept Ekadanda. Śrī Nityananda Prabhu transformed Śrī Gaurasunda's Ekadanda into Tridanda to display the irrelevance of the Mayavadi 𝐴pyaya-dīkṣita's future writing against devotional service in his books Nyāyaka Rakshamani and Shivaraka Dīpika. Now this is, you see how Bhaktisiddhānta said, Lord Nityananda 500 years ago broke the danda to show that books which he will write Mayavadi in the future are false. The Tridanda is real thing, not Ekadanda. No? Transform Gaurasunda into Tridanda to display irrelevance of Mayavadi future writings. Correct? That books were not written that time, later. Now, Śrī Baladevya-bhushan Prabhu commented also. Śrī Baladevya-bhushan Prabhu transformed the Ekadanda of sannyasi dress, Sri Chaitanya, into Tridanda to reveal that impersonalist acceptance of Ekadanda, which is the symbol of Mayavadi, and the current and former practice of accepting sannyasa in Shuddha-dvaita, purified dualism, discipline association, are not approved by Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. This is fully approved by Srimad Bhagavatam and its conventional Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Okay? Without becoming Tridandi, no one can control himself. What is this now? Stand. Can you read this one? Without becoming Tridandi, no one can control himself. Means speech, mind and body control. That's what it means. In the principle of Tridanda, forming Karma Kanda, Indra Danda, Vajra Danda and Brahma Danda are combined with Jiva Danda. This is how Danda is assembled. Actually it has 4 sticks. 3 sticks are big sticks. One is the Vajra Danda, Indra Danda and Brahma Danda. And on the top Jiva Danda is attached like small piece of small stick. You've seen that? Sometimes it's called as a battle axe because by that is cut attachment to material world. And Jiva, that Atma of sannyasi goes into the Danda. So he has no social obligation anymore. He's socially dead. He has no relation, no obligation to family, no obligation for marriages, no obligation for any pujas, no obligation for shraddhas, no obligation. Socially he's dead. Therefore this Danda, when sannyasi comes and offers pranam, you will see first Danda goes on the floor. First with Danda is touched the floor, then the body follows that. So in his explanation of Tridanda, Śrī Rupa Goswāmī Prabhupada has revealed the transcendental Tridandas, the topics of controlling one's body, mind and speech. So, when Tridanda is combined with Jiva Danda, then according to external conception of Tridanda, Ekadanda becomes principle of Paramahamsa Dharma. But since in the principle of Ekadanda, the transcendental state beyond the 3 modes of nature attributes faults in the process of describing Pancharatras, Ekadanda in the form of Tridanda has been accepted in process of describing Pancharatras. That Jiva is added to show that we don't become God by accepting sannyas. We remain, Jiva is eternally separated part and parcel of the God. Mama evam shi Jiva loke, Jiva bhuta sanatana. The Jiva that in Danda shows that we are, even after moksha, we are not merging, becoming one with the God. We are eternal Jiva. Jiva is eternal, separated individual, eternal servant of God. We don't become God, we remain servant of God. That is what is meaning of Tridanda, with that particular Jiva portion. This system is indirectly following Brahma Sampradaya, Brahma Madhva Sampradaya and Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So you can see that Vaishnava sannyasi accept this Tridanda. So there is explanation, if you see in Karma Kanda portion, the Indra Danda, Vajra Danda, Brahma Danda, they are glorified so much. The Indra Danda is a Danda which Indra is honored by. Indra is honored as the king of Devatas. He has full control of whole universe. And Indra Danda is embodiment of all siddhis. All the mystic perfections are there. Vajra Danda, this is explained she is a daughter of the lightning. She is a female, Vajra Danda. Vajra Danda represents Sarasvatī, the goddess of learning, the knowledge, speech. And Brahmadanda is a classical danda of sannyas, it's called Brahmadanda, but particular stick has 7 knots. 7 knots represent the 7 spine cords, 7 chakras, showing that Brahmarandra pathway where soul is leaving body for moksha. So it's all Vedic explanation, it's so complex, so amazing actually. So many things are mentioned there. That famous Brahmadanda was mentioned in Puranas in many places when Vasishta and Vishwamitra fought. Vishwamitra was a king, Raja Rishi. So he knew all the astras. He knew Pashupastra, he knew Agni Astra, Indra Astra, Vayu Astra, Brahmastra he knew. And in his danda, Brahmadanda, Vasishta, he counteracted all his weapons. Whatever he shot the weapons at Vasishta with his Brahmadanda, all weapons enter into danda, counteracted by danda, which was made for his tapasya. So then Vishwamitra got angry, shot at Brahmastra. Brahmastra you can shoot only one time. You can't shoot it like other weapons many times. And this is ultimate one. Brahmastra is described in Mahabharata, the weapon invoked on which all living entities in the material world die. Everybody will die. Brahmastra hits, everybody dies. All living entities will die when Brahmastra is. So this is not invoked every day, This is something really, rarely invoked. So Vishwamitra was so angry, shot Brahmastra. Brahmastra entered into Brahmadanda. It is said that Brahmadanda is the only thing which can neutralize Brahmastra. Unless some other person invokes Brahmastra and counteracts Brahmastra with Brahmastra and counteracts it in the halfway. But this is only one thing, Brahmadanda, that which will counteract Brahmastra. This is the power. So Vishwamitra said, what is use of being king when Brahmanas are more powerful, have better weapon than us? And that is done by tapasya. So you can understand that all tapasya of the sadhu, sannyasi is in his danda. Therefore danda never touches the floor, it's never placed on the floor. Always will be one small wooden piece to hold it or rise up. It's never placed, it's not a stick you walk, so you push yourself from the floor. Not like that. It never touches. It's worship, the system also. For disciples, this is all the Guru's Shakti, all his tapas is inside. So we are so respectful to the danda of sannyas. So this is how it's related to this speech. Okay, then let's continue. Now Srila Prabhupada starts with, that was this Anuvṛtti explanation, Srila Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura. Okay, let's see now. Vachu wake up. Srila Bhaktisiddhānta says, we refer to useless talking, such as that of impersonal Mayavadi philosopher. Now you see here again, they are hitting. Mayavadis cannot control. They cannot control speech because they don't talk about Krishna. I am Brahman, you are Brahman, we are Brahman, everything is Brahman, Aham Brahman. Yes, but what about Bhaktos? What about devotees? No? What about Krishna? Or person engaged in fruitive activities, karma kanda. This they cannot control. Materialistic people who simply want to enjoy life without restriction, they cannot control. Krishna conscious solution. To counteract this tendency, we have to divert our talking to the subject of Krishna. This is explained in Bhagavatam, Nāyavācas Chitrapadam Hare Yasho, famous shlokas, and Tadvar Visargo Janataga Patlau. Those words which do not describe glories of Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all perfect persons are inhabitants of transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. On the other hand, literature which is full of description of transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes of the Lord, of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words, directed towards bringing about the revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So here this is the solution, that we avoid hearing from Mayavadis and materialistic people and karmavadis, fruity workers, and hear transcendental literature about pure bhakti, bhakti granthas we hear. Conclusion. Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī says. The conclusion is that only when we talk about devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead can we refrain from useless nonsensical talks. We should always endeavor to use our speaking power solely for the purpose of realizing Krishna consciousness. Then he continues, Manasa Krodha Vegam, 2 categories. He says in that there are 2 categories. One is 𝐕𝐴 on unrestricted attachment, like attachment to philosophy of Mayavad, belief in the fruitive results of karmavadis, and belief in plans based on materialistic desires are called 𝐕𝐴. So this is the Manasa Krodha Vegam. This is 3 things, that one becomes attached. Even coming to ISKCON, still he is speaking, but still, whether Atma is, are you sure Atma is different from Paramatma? Somebody asked us, after coming 1 year, he's asking, you are sure this Atma is different from Paramatma? Because I read many books, they all say Atma will merge into Paramatma. So this kind of attachment to philosophy of Mayavad. Believe in fruitive results of karmavadis. Oh, you should do that, you should do. You give cow in charity, you get money, you get wealth, you get married, you do this, you do that. These are all related to bhakti. This is not our bhakti business, Believe in planes of materialistic desires are called 𝐕𝐴. Based on materialistic desire, any material endeavors in that sense. And viroda yukta krodha. Anger arising from frustration. From which frustration? From these, from not fulfilling these aspirations. Jnanis, karmis and materialistic plan makers generally attract the attention of conditioned souls. But when the materialists cannot fulfill their plans, and when their devices are frustrated, they become angry. Frustration of material desires produces anger. So this is called viroda yukta krodha. So these are urges of mind to sometimes, okay, I'll put it some examples more clarified. That say like this: you're chanting, you're coming to the temple, you're reading Prabhupada's books, but you want some money, you want a little comfortable life, there's a little tension, pressure, So you lose job. So you become angry. But you have to control your mind. You did not lose bhakti, you did not lose association of devotees, you did not lose your opportunity to worship Krishna. So that little material loss, material unfulfillment of plan or plan collapse should not knock you out, that you become so upset and so angry. What is this, Krishna? I'm chanting and I'm so much suffering and I'm sick and I'm diseased and I lost my job and this happened and that happened and there is no God. Conclusion. Yeah, it's like this. This is one of the things. Viroda yukta krodha. Our anger arising from frustration. I did not achieve. I could not achieve this. I could not achieve this. So, what is this? Not like this. What is this? I'm chanting 18 years and somebody stolen my car. I had sticker of Nrsimhadev inside. Why they stolen my car? So who is Nrsimhadev? Is your chokidar or what? He has to protect your car. We are servants of the Lord. He is telling to Maharaj, Nrsimhadev said, how they can steal the car? You are using Lord in your service instead of serving the Lord. Is it? And then he is angry. Anyway, I will change. But Krishna is not doing something with it. He's questioning Krishna, he's questioning creation, he's questioning everything. Not like that. This is this fright, frustration rising from attachment. And jnanis, karmis, they have their problems. 3 demands of the body. Jiva Vegam, demands of tongue. Udara Vegam, demands of belly. Upasthā Vegam, Jiva Vegam. These 3 senses are physically situated in a straight line. Tongue, belly, genitals, as far as the body is concerned. And that the bodily demands begin with the tongue. One can restrain demands of the tongue by limiting its activities to eating prasadam. The urges of belly and genitals can automatically be controlled. Now this is interesting, that those who try to follow brahmacharya, those who are brahmacharis, they will know that too much eating of sweets is not good for brahmacharya. Too much eating at night is not good for brahmacharya. Too much sweets at night is not good for brahmacharya. Too much opulent food, not good for brahmacharya. Too much deep fried, too much cream, too much ghee, too much sweet, too much sugar, too much spices, all of these things, they are not good. So, we know if more sattvic prasadam, more sattvic quantities, the less pushes of the senses. It's so simple mathematics. Okay, so if jiva is controlled, belly is controlled, then the genitals are controlled. Otherwise, if you overeat, the pushes, the blood is pumping, and then the genitals may become agitated, and then mind becomes agitated, and then, physically it becomes a problem. Okay, so here he quotes, Bhaktivedanta Sarasvatī Thakur quotes Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Thakur's famous prayers. Sharira avidya jal, jatendriya dayakal, jive pele vishaya sagare, tar madhya jivarati, loba moy sudurmati. Come on. Ṭhākura Krishna. Saprashāda Milarai, Anuvṛtta Pao, Rādhā Krishna Gunagao, Premarako Suchaitai. So, what is the translation? Alright. Oh Lord, this material body is lump of ignorance. Sharira avidya jal. Jal means the bag. Avidya, bag of ignorance. Sharira, this body. And the senses are network paths leading to death. Sharira avidya jal, jatendriya dayakal. We are smiling, senses are leading us to death. Somehow or other, we have fallen into the ocean of material sense enjoyment. Taramati Jivayati. And then, of all senses, the tongue is most voracious and unconquerable. Taramati Jivayati. Lobamoy Sudurmati. Durmati, very difficult to conquer the tongue in this world. But, you, dear Krishna, very kind to us. You have sent this nice prasadam to help us conquer the tongue. Therefore, let us take prasadam to our full satisfaction, glorify your Lordship, Radha and Krishna, and love God for the help of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. So this is the prayers. There are 6 kind of rasas, tastes, and if one is agitated by any of them, he becomes controlled by urges of tongue. What are the 6 types of tastes? Who remembers? Sweet and sour and bitter and pungent and salty and astringent. 6. Correct. Okay, if anyone agitates the tongue, one becomes controlled. To give up eating of meat, fish, crabs, eggs and other things produced by semen and blood and eaten in the form of dead bodies, that should be given up. Now, vegetables, creepers, spinach or milk products, but all for the satisfaction of tongue's demands, they should also be given up. So now that, okay, we are vegetarians, now kill ourselves every day, pile up, 3 bags of prasadam, and, okay, that's required at the beginning stages. Srila Prabhupada said, young devotees should eat they should walk like a ducks after prasadam. You know how duck is walking. I'll show you if you come after lunch. But later on, the devotee should be a little bit restrained. Such eating for sense gratification, including the extra use of quantities of spices like chili and tamarind. I repeat. Such eating for sense gratification, including the use of extra quantities of spices like chili and tamarind. Chili and tamarind is to carry up by Krishna conscious person. The use of okay. Cool down. Pulyogar is okay. But too much tamarind, it's not considered the most sattvic spice like chilies also. Okay, the use of pan, hartika, betel nuts, various spices used in pan making, tobacco, LSD, marijuana, opium, liquor, coffee and tea is indulging into the fulfill illicit demands. So I'm sure Prabhupada added this one, LSD, opium. This is added by Srila Prabhupada. Okay, Krishna conscious solution. If we practice accepting only remnants of food offered to Krishna, it is possible to get free from Maya's victimization. Vegetables, grains, fruits, milk products, and water are proper foods to offer to Lord, as Lord Krishna himself prescribes. Warning, Bhaktisiddhānta gives. However, if one accepts prasadam only because of its palatable taste, and thus eats too much, he also falls prey to trying to satisfy the demands of tongue. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us to avoid very palatable dishes, even while eating prasadam. If we offer palatable dishes to the deity with the intention of eating such a nice food, we are involved in trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. So here is some warning, that yes, when we feast, but not that every day we take Mahaprasad. But artificial you cannot control also, that's the problem. So eat nicely, serve nicely, and the time will come when you will understand that yes, now is the time to control. That has to come spontaneously. Kirtananda wanted to restrict eating of gulab jamun because devotees, they used to serve a lot, and they like to take a lot of prasadam, and gulab jamuns were available. Prabhupada made a full pot of gulab jamun placed in the middle of temple, just in the case somebody wants to leave. There's something to hook on. So Kirtananda made all drama, and finally complaint came to Prabhupada. That Srila Prabhupada Kirtananda Prabhu said that we should not eat, more than 2 gulab jamuns. So please, can you tell us, do we have to follow that or not? And Prabhupada saw, they were all upset, they didn't like this instruction. So Prabhupada said, all right, Kirtananda, for you 2 gulab jamuns, others can eat as much as they like. Not one time, second time also. There were devotees, 2 couples were there, husband and wife. All good days. So they had Jagannath Baladev Subhadra deities. They brought, and Prabhupada said from beginning 7 artis, 7 offerings. Soon as deity came, that was the standard in the temple. 4 people in the temple, they asked Jagannath deities, they gathered. Prabhupada said 7 artis, 7 offerings from first day. That was the standard. So they were cooking, and whatever they were eating, there was Mahaprasadam. And that was, standards. Several sabjis, pakoras, and puris, and sweet rice, and halwa, and gulab jamuns, and sandesh, and so on, also daily. So one devotee finally wrote a letter to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I think we are in Maya, we are eating only this opulence, prasadam, and we are just, too much sense gratification. So I think I am requesting your response to that, and that we can instruct all devotees that we should eat simple for deity, we should give nice prasadam, but we should eat simple like that. So Prabhupada wrote back the letter, yes, you should eat very simple and tell other 3 devotees to eat Mahaprasadam. Same reply. Because it's very difficult those days to impose anything like that, But there is a thing that Srila Bhaktivedanta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, when he saw somebody having a little belly in the ashram, he would say, oh, belly growing in the ashram, what kind of sadhu is this? He didn't like devotees to be too big. It shows that can't control the senses. Of course, somebody has bodily constitution also unusual, somebody has some disease, this, that, but actually sadhus it's a different story. So here, even if we offer nice dishes to deities, but with intention to eating such nice food, then we are also demands on tongue. This is the problem, this is eternal topic. Shall we eat pizzas, pastas? What is problem with pizza pasta? Technically nothing, it's vegetarian, but there is so much of that enjoying spirit, that he's saying, Prabhuji, come Saturday to my house, I'll make pizza. Already I eaten it. Already. Yeah. You see, mentality is it for Krishna's pleasure? Okay, we are coming. Already that enjoying mentality. Technically what is? Nothing vegetables, nothing wrong, no? Correct? So you call, Prabhuji come for prasadam. That is the definition. But here this enjoying mentality is immediately invoked. Therefore, somebody asked Prabhupada about pizza. What is this nonsense? I asked one Prabhupada disciple, we happened to take him prasadam in somebody's house. So what they call come for prasadam. We all came, they cook macaroni. Italian macaroni, pasta, whatever you call it. So there was Prabhupada disciple sitting. So we are all eating, he's eating, so we are eating also. What do we know? We are eating? Alright. So, we ask that Prabhuji, what Prabhupada said about macaroni pasta that he take or something? Prabhupada, who would dare to offer? Who would dare to offer him something like this? That's what he said. I thought Prabhupada took this pasta, because 1-2 times Prabhupada took some cake. Mataji is preparing the West, and he took cake. Later he told, sweet means sandesh, rasgulla, gulab jamun. That is sweet. He will accept. They will make some local. Shyama Sundar Prabhu in his memory said that it's very interesting. Govinda Das is speaking memories and said, we cook cake for Prabhupada, and he cut it and took it, and he liked it. Same incident, same place, Shyama Sundar is narrating memories. The Western Matajis, Govinda Dasi, Malati and Yamuna, they always wanted to pursue Prabhupada to eat Western sweets. And graciously he accepted, but he didn't like it. He always, rather, he changed them, teach them how to make rasgullas, samosas. Same incident, two different persons. I'm not hinting at anything, but you conclude yourself. Yeah? Prabhupada didn't accept these Western dishes. Rice, dal, sabji, chapati. You can see video from 1965, black and white video, Kirtananda is distributing and speaking. This is chapatis, this is Indian breads. This is a soup called dal. You see, Prabhupada fixed them up from beginning. Rice, dal, sabji, chapati. Bas. Feast means sweet rice, halwa, puris. And opulence means paneer sabji, cauliflower sabji, samosas, chutney. Like that. Feast, Baba. Yeah? So nowadays, fighting, pizza, pasta, eat, Baba. If you cannot control tongue, eat. Who is at least open to Krishna? Nobody is. But don't propagate that this is some prema bhakti. Krishna came in dream and asked for pizza. Hare Krishna. Nobody will invite me to pizza anymore. Couldn't control tongue, speech. Too much. Okay, if we accept invitation of a rich man with idea of receiving palatable food, we are trying to satisfy tongue also. So that's also not good. Chaitanya Charitamrita is quoted, Antalila, Dwara Lalase, Ye iti utidhai, Shishno Dwara Parayana, Krishna Naibhai. That person who runs here and there, seeking to gratify his palate, tongue, and who is always attached to desire of his stomach and genitals, is unable to attain Krishna. Another shloka, Lord Chaitanya said, Bala na khaibe, ara bhala na parive. Do not dress luxuriously and do not eat delicious food. This is, don't dress too fancy and don't eat delicious food. Udaravegam, the demands of belly. Those who suffer from disease of the stomach must be unable to control urges of belly, at least according to this analysis. Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī, to give you a simple example. You have a problem with belly, you are overeating. Simple diagnosis. When we desire to eat more than necessary, we automatically create many inconveniences in life. So you know this, all this diabetes, heart disease, this problem, that problem, walking, talking, sleeping, bulging, acidity, so much problem, correct? Krishna conscious solution. However, when we observe fasting days like Ekadashi and Janmashtami, we can restrain the demands of the belly. Upastavegam, the demands of genitals are two types, proper or legal and improper or illicit. This is what Bhaktisiddhānta divides. Upastavegam. When a man is properly mature, he can marry according to rules, regulations, shastras, and use his genitals to become as children. This is legal and religious. And improper, he may adopt many artificial means to satisfy the demands of genitals, and he may not use any restraint. When one indulges in illicit sex, as defined by Shastra, either by thinking, planning, talking about, or actually having sexual intercourse, or by satisfying the genitals by artificial means, he is caught in the clutches of Maya. Warning: these instructions apply not only to householders but also to tyagis, or those who are in renounced orders of life. In his book Prema Vivata, chapter 7, Jagarananda Pandit says, Vairagi vai gramya kata nashuni bekhane. My dear brother, you are in renounced order of life, should not listen to talk about ordinarily worldly things, nor should you talk about worldly things when you meet with others. Do not think of women, even in dreams. You accept the renounced order of life with a vow that forbids you to associate with women. If you wish to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you must always remember the incident of Chota Haridas and how he was rejected by the Lord. Do not eat luxurious dishes or dress in fine garments, but always remain humble and serve their Lordship Sri Radha Krishna in your heart of hearts. So this is famous. This things in Chota Haridas, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not happy seeing Sanatana Goswami in expensive chadar, and then he was happy when he saw that he exchanged chadar with some old torn out from another poor person. The conclusion is that one who can control the 6 items, speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly and genitals, is to be called Swami or Goswami. Swami means master, Goswami means master of the go or senses. So when one accepts the renounced order of life, he automatically assumes the title of Swami. This does not mean that he is master of his family, community or society. He must be master of the senses. Now, sannyasis is not taken for prestige. Not that I take sannyas and wherever I go, Mahaprasadam, nice, they treat you nicely, nice garlands, you give lecture, give you separate room, pay your tickets. Very nice. Hey, why we don't take sannyas? No, see the warning. Does not mean you are master of family, community or society. No, must be master of the senses. Unless one is master of the senses, he should not be called Goswami, but dāsa, servant of the senses. Then Bhaktisiddhānta continues, following the footsteps of Goswamis in Vrindavan, all Swamis Goswami should be fully engaged in transcendental service of the Lord. And opposed to this, dāsas engage service of senses and service of material world. They have no other engagement. So Prahlad Maharaj was further describing the dāsa as Adanta Go, which refers to one whose senses are not controlled. Adanta Go cannot be called servant of Krishna. Matirna Krishna Parato Svatoa, famous shloka is quoted. For those who have decided to continue their existence in material world for gratification of senses, there is no chance of becoming Krishna conscious, nor by personal endeavor, nor by instruction from others, or by joint conferences. They have dragged by unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus they madly engage in what is so called chewing the chew. Punas, charvita charvana. Okay. So this is from the commentary of Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur. Now we have very short commentaries from Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswami. We'll just finish the first shloka. Are you okay? Everyone present? This is, I'm just reading from Prabhupada. So far we were just reading from Prabhupada's Prabhupada and commenting here and there. Okay, now this is not in Prabhupada. Pīyūṣa-varṣiṇī-vṛtti. Bhaktivinoda Thakur starts like this, his commentary on first shloka. I worship Gaur Chandra, the ocean of mercy, which arose a stream of nectar collected by Rupa Goswami and brought forth in this world as Sri Upadesa-prakasika. Beautifully he glorifies it. No? Bowing down with great humility, I offer pranam unto the author of Sri Upadesa-prakasika, Rupa Goswami, and unto the commentator, Sri Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswami. Thus I began this commentary, which is offering of nectar. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes his commentary offering pranam to Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswami's commentary also. So just for people who are confused, who is this Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswami, we never heard why we should read his commentary. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his commentary is glorifying Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswami. So they both quote Anyabilash Dushyam Jnana Karmada Navritam Anukulya Krishna Śrīla Bhaktivinoda. Both of commentators they quote this. Now what he says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The cultivation of activities that are meant exclusively for pleasure of Krishna, or in other words, uninterrupted flow of service to Krishna, performed through all endeavors of the body, mind and speech, and through the expression of various spiritual sentiments, bhavas, which is not covered by knowledge and aimed at impersonal liberation, jnana, or reward-seeking activity, karma, and which is devoid of all desires other than aspiration to bring happiness to Krishna, is called Uttama Bhakti. So first, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives, and Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswami both, first they give definition what is pure bhakti, before commenting on anything. This is pure bhakti. This is first established. Then, all 11 shlokas are linked to this. Then it makes sense. Okay, now here. Adopting all these methods mentioned in above verse as favorable, and renouncing all that is unfavorable, one adopts cultivation activities meant exclusively for pleasure of Krishna. He defined pure bhakti, that is meant for pleasure of Krishna without expectation, without asking siddhis or moksha or material profit. Okay, so now what now? Adopt all these things mentioned above as favorable. Means Vacha Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. We are going to follow this. Why? Exclusively for the pleasure of Krishna. Now through this, principles of bhakti. Anukulyana, Shilana. Correct? Krishna Anushilana. No? That Jnana Karmadya Navritam, Anukulyana Shilana. So, what is the point? That this Vachavega Manasakara, same thing what Prabhupada explained. Unless through Krishna consciousness, nobody can control this bhakti. Or, these 6 urges should be controlled with the aim for the pleasure of Krishna. This is the point. It is this cultivation, or Bhagavad Anushilana, which is primarily objective person intent to bhajan. The acceptance of that which is favorable and rejection of that which is unfavorable are not direct limbs of angas of bhakti. Simply by controlling tongues, you don't become devotee. Correct? So these are not direct limbs of bhakti. Rather, there are aspects of that faith which is characterized by surrender, sharanagati. These are limbs of sharanagati, which in turn bestows qualification for bhakti. So these are good things for us to follow, to qualify ourselves to receive the bhakti. The attempt to restrain these 6 urges does not constitute bhakti sadhana. Rather, it is staircase to ascend to the platform of eligibility through which one may enter the temple of bhakti. Correct, in nectar devotion of these 50 angas of bhakti. But there is nothing like control your tongue, control your nose. No, these are not bhakti. But this is required to come to bhakti. So now how is that? Through Krishna consciousness we control tongue. Through service. Through other limbs of bhakti. On the paths of fruitive activity, karma, and cultivation, knowledge, jnana, one is instructed to curb the 6 urges. A karmi and jnanis, they have to control. These instructions, however, are not applicable for pure devotees. In the scriptures, hearing, chanting, and remembrance of names, form, qualities, paths of Krishna are described as actual bhakti. So, by following bhakti, automatically this is done. He doesn't want anybody to follow separately or think that this only will achieve the goal. Because then people go and sit on the top of the temple and do tapasya and say, but this I will achieve. No, you come in kirtan with us. This is what you will achieve. Perfection. This is expressed as following: Vaishnava Tantra, Koti Bhakti-sarama, Anukulya Sankalpa, Pratikulya-varja, 𝐓𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐴 Vishwasya, Goprit-varnam Tata, Atmanik-Kshetra-karpanim, Shadvida Sharanagati. These are 6 limbs of Sharanagati. What is that? That Anukulya Sankalpa, fully surrendered sadhaka should accept only those things that are favorable for practicing bhakti. Partikulya vivarjanam, they should completely reject those things that are unfavorable to bhakti. So this is where this comes. Jiva Vegam, Uttarapasta Vegam, Vacha Vegam. This is where they come. We use tongue where is favorable. We restrain when is unfavorable. We use mind where is favorable. We restrain where is unfavorable. We use genitals where is favorable. Where is not favorable, we restrain. So these are limbs of Sharanagati. Like 𝐓𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐴 Vishwasya, like that. Okay. Alright, so here then he quotes Padma Puranam, Shoka-varshadibir, Bhavar, Akrantam, Yasya Manasam, Katam Tatra Mukundasya, Spuri, Sambhavana Bhave. How can Sri Mukunda ever be manifested to a person whose heart is invaded with lamentation, anger, and other agitations? As simple as that. Plain truth in the face. You can't be sense gratified and devotee. It doesn't work. It does not work together. You can't adjust. Don't try to adjust. Don't make luxury apartments. Don't make luxury cars. Don't make luxury dresses and opulence around yourself. Don't go in most expensive societies to live. Don't do that. It won't work. It doesn't work. Unless you think you're Pundarika Vidyani. If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you don't know what I'm talking about. It doesn't work. It's incompatible. One will be influenced by material desires. For Krishna, Prabhu. For Krishna. Here, 1.5 crore car. For Krishna. No, remember that devotee asked Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Maharaj, can I build a big house? Why you want to build big house like this? Simple life. No. To invite devotees to invite all devotees for prasad. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Krishna giving him higher intelligence, he said, and how many times a year you will invite devotees for prasada? 1 time you will invite, and then 365 days you are in such a big house, in the name of devotion. That should not be. That just be simple, Not that you live in poverty, that leaking, roof is leaking, and Lazy bum, you don't want to repair roof, you put umbrella and your wife under umbrella and say, 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬, be renounced. That you are unable to earn money and you are preaching to wife to be renounced. That's bad also. That's again another extreme. That should not be there. 13. What is 13? The second? Okay. Tolerate this. 5 minutes. Right, this is same shloka is quoted by Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswāmī. Actually, unfortunately, we are doing it opposite. Because first we want to study Prabhupāda's purport. Then Prabhupada included Bhaktisiddhānta's purport. Then comes Bhaktivinoda's purport, and then Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswāmī's purport. But Alda's purport is for Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswāmī, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, then Bhaktisiddhānta, then Prabhupada. But we don't study like that. We study first Prabhupada. Okay, here. The purport of this verse, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the lust, anger, greed, illusion, intoxication, envy, and other irritation always arise within the mind and thus attract the mind towards material sense object. This is affected through 6 agencies. The urge to speak or to use words that create distress for others, by agitation of mind or innumerable desires and plans fabricated within mind, by anger of the use of harsh words, by vehemence of the tongue or greed to relish 6 kinds of taste, namely sweet, sour, bitter, pungent, salty, astringent, by the urge of belly or the drive to eat more than necessary, by agitation of genitals or the desire to cohabitation between men and women. Thus agitated, the cultivation of Shuddha Bhakti is not possible. In order to make the hearts of those who are pursuing the path of bhajan intent on bhakti, Rupa Goswami has composed this first verse. Why this first verse is there? To make our heart intent, purified, undisturbed, that we can follow the bhakti. Therefore Rupa Goswami composed this verse. These 6 urges present various types of obstacles in immature stage for the practitioner entering the path of bhakti. At that time, the devotee, by taking shelter of mood of exclusive sharanagati and by avoiding the 10 kinds of offenses to the holy name, becomes sweet to dispel these obstacles through the power of Harinama, Kirtan and so on. The association of spotless saints, sadhus, plays a very significant role in this matter. Correct? It's easy to chant and to follow when we are with devotees. Then it's very easy to follow. When we are not with devotees, it's difficult to follow. Shutapinama Mahatma Yapriti Ragito Naraha Ahamamadi Paramonami Sopya Parada Krit, 10th offense. Those who in spite of hearing glories of the Lord, glories of the Holy Name, maintains conception and this body and the worldly objects of mind, who display no persistence in or love for the utterance of the Holy Name, are also offenders to the Holy Name. So he is explaining to us not to consciously maintain material desires, cultivate material desires and material aspirations. That is also offense. Devotees intend to practice renunciation, and thus they remain aloof from dry renunciation. Therefore, regulation to abandon all contact with sense objects does not pertain to them. When the agitation of mind is withdrawn, or in other words, when one is devoid of thirst for material enjoyment, the impetuosity of the eyes, the life air, the hearing propensity, and all other drives become specified. So same thing he is explaining, that once we engage our senses and mind in Krishna's service, everything gets we are not dry renunciate. That's what he said. It's not that now we are going for renunciation. We are going for Krishna Bhakti, and automatically, what is that? Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. Janayati Shivara Dhyanam Chayata Haitu. What is that? That by practice of bhakti, 2 automatic sub-products are following automatically is jnana and vairagya, by practice of bhakti. Therefore, person who have gained victory over these 6 overwhelming passions can conquer entire world. The instruction to tolerate these urges is given only for grihasthas devotees, householder devotees. You heard this one? I was thinking about this one. It's amazing. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, this first shloka is for grihasthas. Why is that? Because he considered one who puts saffron on, that already he controls this. Dear Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what do we do? Born in Chandala family, the only goal of life was explained to break 4 principles. I joined in Friday afternoon, and afternoon they gave me saffron cloth. Nobody told me what is white, what is saffron. Everything was blue and pink for me, I didn't know anything. They put me in saffron. What do I do? It was like this. Look at the standard those days. Look at the standard of sadhus those days. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, this is shloka for householders only. Because sannyas means saffron, vada, brahmacharya, vanaprastha, or sannyas. They already follow. Otherwise, why they took sadhana? Why they have saffron cloth? Goswāmī is already, so this is for householders. Because before giving up householder life, one must first have abandoned all types of urges. Very clearly he explains why. No? Already you left family, correct? Means already you control these urges. Otherwise, how could you leave the family? Okay, Rādhā-ramaṇa Goswāmī's commentary. The purpose of this statement is that when contamination such as lust, anger, greed arise within the mind, the 6 overwhelming passions mentioned in original verse cause the mind to become thoroughly engrossed in fleeting objects of sensual gratification. The cultivation of Anuvṛtti Bhakti is never possible in such contaminated heart. So this is why each shloka is spoken. Why? To control mind, senses, speech, genitals, belly. Why? Because these 6 urges will disturb the mind, we cannot practice pure bhakti. As simple as that. Remember this. This is very important. Therefore, the instruction given here to subdue the passions which impede the development of bhakti. The sadhakas who can control this passion can instruct the entire world. The conclusion is that the sadhaka who has conquered his senses, subdue passions, can purify all the jivas of the world. He is resolute and pure uttama bhakti. Everyone may become disciple of such a great persons. And he quotes few shlokas. My dear Uddhava, my devotees whose voice becomes choked up with prema, whose heart softens and becomes to flow with spiritual emotion, who cannot cease from crying even for an instant, who sometimes bursts into laughter, sometimes begins to sing very loudly, abandoning all shyness, and sometimes dances, purifies not only himself, but the entire world. So he quotes to confirm that. It is essential to note here that by subduing the 6 passions described already, what is obtained is merely qualification to enter the realm of bhakti. Again, he is confirming that these 6 urges controlling, this is not anga of bhakti. That will pre-qualification. This is not a glimpse of devotional service, rather the doorway through which one may enter the realm of bhakti. Because bhakti is self-manifested function of Lord's eternal potency, Swarupa Shakti. When it makes its appearance, these 6 passions automatically becomes pacified. Okay, thank you very much for your tolerance and controlling your mind to sit here. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai, Upadesa-prakasika ki jai, Hare Krishna. Now this is a strong shloka, strong verse, and we are preaching to ourselves. This is all for us to share, to learn, to get inspired, to follow strictly. So nobody should get offended. Oh, you spoke about me. I spoke about myself. If you want to really know, these are my notes. I wrote the notes for myself. So this is something important to discuss, and we should be always reminded, be clear what we are doing, what we are following, for what we are following, and don't get into the loose mode of bhakti. Tivrena bhakti yogena. Don't get bewildered. What is the problem? A little bit of this. What is the problem? A little bit of that. Maya will swallow us. Just like crocodile catches the leg, and then you resist, and then you get tired, goes a little bigger, and swallows you. Maya is like this. So we don't want to risk, we want to help each other, we want to inspire each other. It's a difficult world, it's Kali Yuga. Senses are attacked from all the sides. So let's grab together, let's serve together, let's surrender to Krishna together, help each other how to progress in bhakti. That is what we got inspiration from this verse. Thank you very much. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki